There's something eerie about Gothic cathedrals. The high arching ceilings, the shadowy corners, and the silence that seems almost sacred. For James, Claire, and David, a weekend trip to explore the abandoned Cathedral of Shadows was meant to be an adventure. Little did they know, they were about to uncover a dark history that would change their lives forever. James, Claire, and David were history enthusiasts, always on the lookout for new places to explore. The Cathedral of Shadows, located in a remote village, had always fascinated them. Built in the 14th century, it was said to be cursed after a series of mysterious deaths, leading to its eventual abandonment. On a stormy Friday evening, they set out on their journey. The village surrounding the cathedral was eerily quiet, its inhabitants wary of the trio's destination. As they approached the cathedral, its towering spires and gargoyles seemed to watch their every move. The massive wooden doors creaked open, revealing a grand yet decaying interior. Stained glass windows depicted scenes of torment and despair, casting colorful yet haunting reflections on the stone floor. The air was thick with the scent of mold and decay. "Let's start with the altar," James suggested, his voice echoing through the empty hall. Claire and David followed, their footsteps reverberating in the silence. The altar, once magnificent, was now covered in dust and cobwebs. A large, ornate book lay open, its pages yellowed with age. Claire's curiosity got the better of her, and she began to read aloud the Latin inscriptions. As Claire read, a cold wind swept through the cathedral, extinguishing their flashlights. Panic set in as darkness enveloped them. The faint glow of the stained glass windows was their only source of light. Suddenly, a deep, guttural voice echoed through the hall. "Who dares disturb my sanctuary?" David's heart raced. "What was that?" James, trying to stay calm, said. "Let's stick together. We need to find the exit," but the exit seemed to have vanished. The cathedral's layout appeared to shift, corridors stretching endlessly, doors leading to nowhere. The trio realized they were not alone. The voice grew louder, closer. Shadows began to move, forming into a figure dressed in dark robes. His eyes glowed with an unnatural light, his face twisted in anger. "I am Father Alaric," he hissed. "You have awakened me from my eternal slumber," James stammered. "We're sorry, we didn't mean to." "Silence," Alaric's voice boomed. "You have desecrated this holy ground. Now you shall pay the price." Desperate to understand their predicament, Claire frantically searched the cathedral's records. She uncovered the truth. Father Alaric had been a revered priest, but he dabbled in dark rituals, sacrificing villagers to gain immortality. When his deeds were discovered, the villagers cursed him, trapping his spirit within the cathedral. Alaric's spirit had been waiting for centuries, growing stronger with each passing year. By reading the Latin inscriptions, Claire had inadvertently broken the seal that bound him. James, Claire, and David fought to escape the cathedral's malevolent grasp. Alaric's spirit tormented them, using their deepest fears against them. David saw visions of his deceased brother, Claire heard her mother's disapproving voice, and James was haunted by shadows that whispered his failures. Their bond was their only strength. Together, they resisted Alaric's influence, using their combined knowledge of history and the occult to weaken him. Claire found a ritual that could banish Alaric's spirit, but it required a great sacrifice. Realizing what had to be done, James volunteered. "I'll do it. It's the only way." Claire and David protested, but James was resolute. With Claire's guidance, he began the ritual. As he chanted the ancient words, Alaric's spirit writhed in agony. In a blinding flash of light, Alaric's spirit was torn from the cathedral, but at a great cost. James's lifeless body lay on the stone floor, a somber reminder of their ordeal. Claire and David emerged from the cathedral, forever changed. The village welcomed them back, but they could never forget the horrors they had witnessed. The cathedral stood as a silent monument to their friends' bravery and the dark history that should never be forgotten. Years later, Claire returned to the cathedral, now a historian dedicated to uncovering and preserving its past. As she stood before the altar, she felt a cold breeze and heard a faint whisper. "Thank you," it said. Claire smiled sadly, knowing James's spirit had found peace. But the shadows of the cathedral still lingered, a reminder of the darkness that once was.